except where them hands, where them holes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying? Cecil.
Yeah, you can say that I am using the name Roosh to get views on my channel, and in a way I am. But I'm not quite sure how I want to go with this video because it's so much I want to say, and I don't want this thing to be super long. Well, let me just talk from the heart. So I first came across this whole phenomenon and idea is because I got a copy of the article Game is for Fallen Women, written by Roosh V. Roosh V is somebody who was apparently very prominent in the pickup community, womanizing, seducing women community. And he's recently turned over a new leaf and has decided to go against his old ways and find God. And the article that is generating a lot of buzz is one called Game is for Fallen Women. So basically in this article, he's arguing all the stuff he told you about picking up women. Not that it doesn't work, but it basically works on women that you wouldn't want to get with in the first place. And true to my cynical nature, first of all, number one, I even wrote him and told him in an email that I thought I was the only person who thought that. Because whenever I heard about this stuff about game and picking up people, I basically likened it to magic tricks. Because way back in the day when I was actually young and had some hair, I met a guy who was a magician. And he told me he was a magician and he had two women on his arm when he was telling me this. Women like magic, they like magicians, and this is a great way to meet and attract women. And they were both into him. Yeah, co-signing and stuff. And I just said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't want to use the exact words I use because they're vulgar. But use your imagination. I just said, well, if I've got to get the prize, and I didn't say prize, I didn't say a word that is means prize, booty. I didn't use that word. I said, if I got to get the prize, it was another P word to if I got to use magic tricks to get the prize, then I don't want it. I shouldn't have to hypnotize the prize to get it. If I can't talk to you like an adult, I don't want to be bothered. And I walked off. Now, of course, that's why I'm not Joe Womanizer and never really have been. But this is the conclusion that Roosh came to on his own. And I'm glad that even though he had to take the long way around to learn it, it's something I think I just instinctively learned and knew. So I decided to dig a little deeper and get some. I'm not going to endorse people's products here per se, because this is a martial arts channel and I do have to be somewhat family friendly and prospective employer friendly. So I went and checked out some other products and I found out, which I should have known because I've actually managed to be married over 20 years, that I actually do have game. I just didn't call it that. I didn't have words for it. It's not something I went to try to go out and develop in order to razzle dazzle. I basically just stayed true to my masculine nature as much as I could. And ironically, the process of learning the martial arts helped me get back in tune with my true masculine nature. Now, am I a He-Man? No. Does that mean I'm a wimp? No. And I'm going to get into that too. I think I've really come to a good balance because my nature is softer. So studying the hard martial arts styles, which is something I think I intuitively knew, studying harder martial arts styles helped me bring my softer nature into balance. So where a lot of people have had to take a lot of time into internal disciplines to handle to balance out their hard and softness, I didn't have to as much because I already had a soft nature. I needed the hard aspects of external martial arts styles, punch, kick, throw, pin, stuff that requires physical prowess to practice. I had to I had to indulge in those to become a more complete human being. Now that's not to say I haven't had internal training, I do. But grasping the internal concepts was something that came easier to me. You know, being able to hit someone came hard, as well as the flip side of that same coin is not just knowing how to hit somebody, it's let me hit somebody with the right amount of control and not kill them. Both of those, if you're too soft, then when you finally do release your emotion, you release it too much in a conflict. You have to release the right amount of force, the right amount of aggression. That's with a physical conflict as well as interpersonal conflicts. Because I remember one time what I found is hard styles make you want to strike, strike, strike. Then I found my words make you want to strike and attack. And I've had to learn how to balance all that out and just say what needs to be said with the right amount of intensity. So game is for fallen women, yeah. Now what's getting me, and this is something I've had to deal with. I'll just say I've had to deal with recently. You know, fallen women are everywhere. And while you may not want to run game on them because you don't want to be involved with them, we're still going to have to study whatever makes the fallen women tick. Because fallen women, the world is fallen. Fallen women are producing fallen children. Fallen children are growing up to become fallen men and fallen women. Fallen women will attack you. We know that fallen men will physically attack you. We know that. We accept the fact that I'm going to study a martial art so I can deal with fallen men. Now, this is something that irritates me about the unfallen people. Unfallen people, especially unfallen men, will not take the time, per se, to learn how to defend themselves. I am so amazed, and I tell this to people I consider to be good all the time. They're really more like sheep, I should say, than necessarily good. It's like, you sheep, you just don't realize something. The wolves of the world practice. The wolves of the world study. They study violence. Even if they're not going to class for it, they are prepped. The people who are quote unquote bad or evil, they tend to be in shape. They work out. If they can't take you by working out, they have teamwork. They will work in pairs. As far as relationship goes, I tell people I have had like dog or player training, even though I never exercised it. They openly discuss, well, not in front of you. They talk to people that they care about. Because, you know, I'm like a softy little square guy. Even though I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to, I got to keep this PG. But you can say I'm a square even though I'm not just that. I wasn't always just that. But like if they got a square relative that they care about, they will put this, because they did it with me. They will put you on to how the quote unquote streets work, and they'll tell you the mentality of predators so that you can avoid them. So that's why a lot of the stuff that's in, I always bring up Mark McYoung because he's one of my favorite authors when it comes to self-defense. Everything I read in Mark McYoung's book until the last two books I read by him, one he was in and another one he wrote. All that stuff, I thought everybody knew this stuff because I heard it coming up. It's like I used to get Mark McYoung like clinics all the time when the old folks would be sitting around talking trash, eating crabs, drinking beer, playing cards. They just hit me to this stuff. So I assumed everybody knew this stuff about how not to get clobbered when you're walking in the wrong part of town. You know, courtesy. It's very important. You know, don't offend people who will stab you is basically the best way to summarize it. But when it comes to the fallen women, and I will give a hint to who I'm talking about here. There's a guy who has a book out, an ebook about how to disqualify women that for long-term relationships. I'll leave it at that. Those type of women will physically attack you. They attack other women and they will attack a man. And I find that they will physically attack a man that they don't think will hit them back. If you're a nice guy or you're kind, and really even beyond that, if you are just what I'm going to start calling now, if you are workplace polite, like you know how to behave professionally at a work or school setting, and your subjects and verbs agree, there are women that think they can put their hands on you. And now, if you're a man who's in touch with his body at all, you know that if you hit her one good time, you're probably going to kill her or at least put her in a coma, aka Emily Rand. The Emily Rand videos I've done on this channel, these are my most popular videos. So that's why I put together a playlist of self-defense techniques that men can use against women who are trying to attack them. And usually fallen women usually don't. One thing I can say about fallen women, usually, not always, they usually don't have a lot of training, or they may have very little training. So I know my techniques are going to work on them. Now this is the thing where I got off track here. When I was talking about the Roosh phenomenon, I looked up Roosh. I looked at an article. I looked under his fallen article, Games for Fallen Women, and just like I expected, they turning on him. He no longer wants to run with the wolves, so the pups, not the real wolves, but the little pups, are turning on him, snipping at him. Somebody already called him gay in one of the comments. To be expected as much. See, what Roosh has done is he's made his book Game unavailable because he feels like he doesn't want to lead people astray. He doesn't want to lead people, down the wrong path or give them harmful information. In the martial arts, those of us who have some understanding of Denmark and pressure points, I know a lot of us feel the same way. Sometimes I felt like, I don't even want to teach martial arts to anyone. Or I would like to, if I could, be really pre-selective as to who I share information with. Because there's some people, like I said, people with violence experience, if you heard my other videos, people that got violence experience, they really don't need a class. They know how to hurt someone. I wish I could just train the people who really needed the help the most, the people who are not as overtly aggressive, the people I know that are good and kind, so that I know this information won't be misused and abused. With just the little bit I know, I don't even know a lot of Denmark. I know some, and I know some pressure points. Got a black belt. And as you know, if you've been around the martial arts for a while, first degree is really just the basics of something. And I feel like I don't even want to share that with a lot of people. That's why it's not on my channel very much. I talk around it. I don't put it out there directly. And I'm not against those who do. And I'm going to get to why in a minute. But, it's just my way of saying I don't want to put something harmful out there. But just like Roosh says in his article, there are people, though. I know you don't want to give away your knowledge to just the wicked who are going to abuse it. But the wicked are going to find that stuff out anyway because they're diligent about their wickedness. So I think he says in this article, let me find it. Yeah, here we go. These are the same people that he would like to still give his knowledge of game to. These are the same type of people that I would really prefer to train if I could just train them. I'm going to read from here. Is it worth it for a man of God to learn game if he only wants a devout Christian wife? No. There could be exceptions. If you have an exceedingly awkward personality, I had one of those, a lack of basic masculinity, I had that, or diagnosed autism. I don't have the formally diagnosed autism. A couple of people have said that I may, and I probably need to look into that. But the right girl for you should not need you to apply game on her to remain devoted. And if you do need to run game on her, you will always need to run game on her, even after divorce, when you want to see your children on the weekend. Okay. So we're not necessarily in the game here. We're using this whole game thing as a jump off point. But these type of people that he's talking about that need game, these are the type of people that I prefer to teach martial arts because I think these are the men in particular, but also young women, or women period, who need the martial arts the most. People that have an awkward personality, a lack of basic masculinity. We'll say a lack of basic masculinity. For martial arts, we'll say a lack of basic survival instincts or diagnosed autism. I have seen where people that have autism to any degree, oh my goodness, the martial arts is a godsend for them. It helps them to be able to protect themselves from the type of people who would pick on them the most. And I had one, I wish my most autistic student, he had diagnosed autism. I forgot where he was on the spectrum. I really wish I could have gotten him the black belt. I think maybe my standards were just too high. But his dad only pulled him out because he got a job. And he's able to take care of himself now, from what I understand. I really wish I could have kept him all the way through the black belt. I got him to that one rank before. But I'm so proud of him because there was a student, a prospective student that came in there. This was the type of person who would have been the most likely to pick on him. And he got to spar against that type of guy, and he got to protect himself and defend himself against that guy. And I said, now I know if any little knucklehead tries to come after this student, this former student of mine that's autistic, I know he can protect himself. But see, I understand why Roosh, he doesn't want to contribute to harm and put negative energy out there. And that's the dilemma that we face as martial artists too. It's a question we have to ask. And I don't have an answer to it other than I'm just going to figure out how to do what I do. And I've seen other people that I know, they question us. But one answer I will say I do have is I find that if you're teaching information in the right way and with the right intentions and you're putting the right energy behind it, even if it's dangerous information, it's going to ward off 99% of the wicked, because they just, if your vibration is not in tune with theirs at all, most of them aren't going to listen. But that devious 1%, I don't know if you can keep them out anyway. To be honest, I think that if they are super advanced evil manipulators, they're going to sign up for your courses. They're going to hang in there long enough, and they're going to hang around long enough to get your approval, to get your trust. They're going to take the information that you have, and then they're just going to flip it to the dark side. So I don't know if you can really keep them out anyway. I mean, God had to kick Satan out of heaven, but Satan was in heaven at one point. So I think his kids are going to get up into the heavens of decent martial arts training, martial practice, and they're just going to get in there and they're just going to learn it. But the whole mass majority of morons, I think as long as you're teaching it the right way and set things up like you were taught in the traditional way, I think you're going to get rid of a lot of them. I think they're just not going to stick around, because that's something I've noticed. Just like with judo, a lot of people don't necessarily consider judo to be traditional martial art. I do, because it's more of a grappling focus. But like with judo, if people don't want to follow the rules, if they don't want to learn the techniques, they don't stick around in judo. They may get in there and grapple a little bit, but they don't make it to Shodan. They go. I've noticed with teaching Taekwondo and with teaching Cecil Ryu martial arts, if they're not really, if their hearts just ain't in it, if they don't want to learn the forms, all they want to do is spar. If you set it up so that they know that, hey, this is not Fight Club, and so you can talk about this because this is not Fight Club. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to learn the forms. You're going to go through your one-step sparring. You're going to learn your self-defense techniques. You're not going to spend your whole time in class just learning how to wheel on each other. And you're going to get some exposure to grappling too, so you can't say this is just an incomplete system. And I know some weapons, but that's not my forte. And it's like, we're not going to come in here and just learn knife. So if you just want to learn how to hurt people, you just set a decent tone and they float away and they just go. They don't stay. And I don't mean to pick on knife people either, because I can tell when I've gone to knife seminars, all the ones I've gone to have been with righteous teachers. You can tell by their students, by the vibe they give off, they teaching it the right way. They putting their values into it. When they're talking about their values while they're talking. I can tell right there, that's going to turn the wicked off. If somebody just wants to learn how to do prison shanks, see, that's the thing. The wicked are going to find out what they're going to want to find out. And if you're not righteous, they just going to leave you. You repel them with your righteousness. You repel 99% of the wicked. Only the most hardened, super devious, duplicitous people, I think, I'm going to stick around to milk you for all you know, in my opinion. So that's all you can do, is just try to inject your stuff in with the right intentions. That's the only thing I could think to do. So am I going to be judging Roosh for taking a book off the market? No. I understand why he did it. I don't blame him. I may even pick up a copy of it for myself now just to see what it's about. But from what I've read from that world so far, it's stuff already. If you know how to maintain a decent, healthy, long-term relationship, You know how to practice those principles. You're just not practicing them for the dark side. To use Star Wars metaphors, you're not practicing them for evil. You're doing them for good. Just like with the martial arts. And I thought Roosh was a martial artist, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. I could have sworn he was. Let me look in this article and see if martial arts comes up. Martia. No, I guess not. But it's a principle, and that is the people that he's talking about who need the help that he still feels can benefit from game. He's calling them awkward, lacking masculinity, or have autism, like severe autism, where it's noticed, because people with autism don't pick up on social cues. These are the same people that I think can truly benefit from martial arts training. So if you felt like you needed game and it really helped you out, you needed game just to be able to function and just to get a woman, period, to even talk to you, you probably need to take a martial arts class so that you can defend yourself against people who will attack you. Because I'm telling you, it's not just the super thugs that's attacking people anymore. It's not just the high school bullies that are attacking you. Man, it's only so much I can say for various reasons. I would just say, even I've recently been attacked. And you would think, as big and strong as I am, and with what I put out publicly saying, hey, I know how to do this physically, you would think that nobody would be dumb enough to try to attack me. But then again, you underestimate human dumb, my dear friend. Human dumb is extreme, and it's coming from the fallen. Like I said, he says his stuff's just for getting fallen people to date you, people you don't really want to have a long-term relationship with anyway. But guess what, though? Fallen people are producing fallen children who grow up to be fallen adults, and the fallen want to see you, righteous people, fall. And good ways to protect yourself against the fallen are to hook up with the Lord. And what can hooking up with the Lord also entail? Him training your hands for war and teaching your fingers to fight. But not just so you can make war, so that you will be a blessed peacemaker, so that we can all inherit the kingdom of God. So thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people like to talk about the martial arts. And I'll put some links to some stuff in the description when I finally upload this stuff. And again, don't think that I'm not trying to attack anybody, but I'm just saying his dilemma really spoke to me. His dilemma of, I know this. I know who still needs this. How can I guard this so that the people who need it and won't abuse it will use it? I think that's something we face too whenever we become deeply knowledgeable, I guess, about anything, including martial arts. And peace. And as always, thank you for your time.